All right, very good. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so we invited a lot of teachers, specifically a lot of the participants in the New York City English for ELT Success program. And so I hope that people join us over the course of the next few minutes. I believe this is an important session whereby I will be talking about some program developments. Hello, Tabitha. Hello, good to see you. Okay, Adan, Amparo, Elmer, Glenda, Aide, Katia, Maribel. Okay, good. We're getting a lot of the participants already. We're waiting for a lot more people. Good afternoon, Katia. Okay, great. Okay, so we're getting more people. Good evening, Elmer. Excellent. Good. Good, good, good. So Maribel, I see, is there. I see some changes here and there. So what I would like to do, today's session is not going to be particularly long, but I think it's very important because we are entering the second half of the NYC English for ELT Success program. So we are entering the seventh month. Maribel, hello. We are entering the seventh month. The second half, you began in May, and so we are entering the second half. And so it's important that we look at some of the new developments that will be taking place in the program in your benefit, okay? Because again, we want to make sure that you take full advantage of the program and that when you get to your exam, your international exam, that you are in a good position to pass it and thereby also obtain your access to your international ELT course with a certificate from the United States. Okay, so this is what we want to do. So let me go a little bit over what we're going to cover today. We're going to look at something new, and what we're looking at is writing tasks. I'll be explaining that in a few minutes, but the writing tasks are something new that we are adding to the program. You are working online. You're working with the platform, but we're going to be focusing a little bit now on your writing skills in preparation for what will be the international examination. We're going to be doing something with oral tasks. So we're going to be providing you with specific activities that you will have to complete, and you will receive feedback on that. I will be explaining that as well. We will be working with professional learning communities. Now, this was talked about earlier, but I think not too many people took it seriously. So now it's mandatory. Okay. Now, obviously, mandatory is a referential concept. We cannot make you do anything. You are free will and free choice. So you decide what you want to do. But mandatory in the sense that if you really want to take full advantage of the program, we strongly urge you to make use of the PLCs, which will be updated constantly in to help you prepare for your first of all to help you improve your language skills in general, and second to help you prepare for the international examination. And part of that is the learning resources that will be included in the PLCs, as well as some test preparation material. Okay, so these are ideas. Today we're gonna look at some things just so you understand what we're going to have you do. So we're gonna hello Erika, hello Aide. Aurora is here as well. So we're going to look at some ideas so that you have an understanding of what we expect from you. And again, we cannot make you do these things. You are a free will. You are free to choose what you wish to do, but we strongly urge you to take advantage of the resources and the opportunities because again, this is the second half. And so now we're going to have to start pushing hard as we start moving towards culmination of the second half of this program. So we want you to be ready. We want you to be prepared. We want you to come out feeling good about your language level. You've been practicing online. You've been practicing in your video conferences, and now it's time to give you the vitamins, or if you use British English, vitamins. You know, the British say vitamins. Americans say vitamins. So today I feel like I have a lot of vitamins because today is a very special day. Today we have a new president-elect in the United States. So we have President-elect Joe Biden, and for some of us, for at least a little over half of the country, we are very happy and very pleased about what that means and the changes that it will bring to our country. So today's a day of celebration for some of us. Now there's another group of people who aren't too happy today, but in the end, hey, that's how it works. Elections work that way. Anyway, okay, so let's look at the writing. Let's take a look at the writing tasks. So we will be asking you to prepare a writing task, carry out a writing task, or perhaps even two writing tasks. Now this depends on the level that you're in. Yeah. So if you are in the group, the English for ELT Success A group, you will do two tasks. If you are in the English for ELT Success B group, you will do two tasks. If you're in the English for ELT Success C group, you will do one task because in your case, what you will be preparing is, thank you, Erika. Thank you, Elmer. So what you'll be preparing is what we call extended discourse. So you'll be writing a little more extensively. You'll be writing more in the area of essays and such. But in other cases, you'll be writing shorter sized writing samples. And so in that case, you will be asked to do two tasks per month, and you'll receive feedback for the tasks. The tasks will be aligned specifically with the descriptors of the Common European Framework. We will send you the task. We will provide you with instructions on how to carry out the task correctly. So it's going to be very simple in some cases. In general, it's going to be simple. We have to make it simple for you. Yeah. So we're going to send you one or two tasks. We will send you the instructions. We will provide you with a model. And again, the important thing about models, this is something very important to do. The important thing about models, and let me show you. Well, I'll explain in a second. The important thing about models is you just don't look at a model and copy it. That's not the idea. When you look at a model, you analyze it, you identify the language in the model, you recognize and identify, hello Pilar, you recognize and identify the structure of the writing, and then you expand, okay? You expand on that, okay? So that's very important, because if you just simply copy the model, if your topic or if your focus is a little different, it's not going to come out good. It's not going to come out well. It's going to come out badly. You will not pass the task. You will not get a passing grade for the task. So it goes deeper. Now, unfortunately, you know, a lot of people, when they teach writing and when they teach reading, they don't do that. You know, I just gave a talk. I'll give a talk to you guys in about a week. Actually, I'm going to give you guys a talk. That's part of the program now. Starting this month, I'm going to be giving academic talks to all the participants in our program with you guys, and you will receive certificates for participation in the talks. Okay. I think this month we do music, and I think next month is reading and listening. But in any case, so in writing, you look at the model. Unfortunately, we don't teach students how to analyze the models, how to recognize the language in the models, how to segregate and classify the language, and then expand on it. So this is what we're going to recommend to you. We're going to give you recommendations, sample language like we do with the speaking activities. When you do the speaking activities, we send you the preparation material. We send you ideas on what to say and how to initiate your turn, how to start talking in certain situations, what to say in certain situations, and so on. And we'll give you a deadline. Okay, so this is not something, well, you know, we send you a writing task and we'll wait forever to see when you can send it in. We'll give you a deadline, and if you get it within the deadline, then we give you the feedback. Yeah, and then there'll be a second submission, which means you have to submit the task again. Okay, so that you can take into account the feedback and the recommendations. Okay, so again, the writing, there will be one or two writing tasks depending on your level. We will provide you with instructions on what we want you to do. We will provide you with a model. We'll provide you with sample language, so prompts, cues, sample sentences or phrases to kind of give you an idea of what to do. And we'll give you obviously some tips on how to create your ideas, how to generate your ideas. The hardest thing about writing is not the mechanics, because a lot of people learn the mechanics. A lot of people, they understand how to structure an essay. They understand how to structure an email. They know how to put together instructions, they know how to write a post-it note or whatever it might be. What people don't understand, what people usually forget, is the essence of any writing is the ideas that you want to communicate. So I have a couple of groups, and I know your V educators are doing the same. The same thing happens with writing. When we give an idea, we have to elaborate on the writing. We have to be a little more specific, give details, and there's a structure for that. It's pretty easy to train people on how to do that. So we're going to give you some recommendations. The deadline, we want you to give it back by the deadline, and if you give it back by the deadline, we'll give you the feedback, and then you give it a second time, and we'll give you some corrective feedback as well. Okay, we'll give you some tips, but we'll use some techniques that we normally do to get you to think about your errors, what mistakes you might have made, and how you can fix your writing, and then submit the final copy. Of course, we want you to analyze what you did, right? This is very important so that you can improve. So, for example, this is a EFS level A type email. Okay, so we might send you something like this. If you're in the EFS A group, right? English for ELT Success A group, you might get an email. Now the email says, Dear Ms. Rodriguez, according to our records, you have not made your payment this month. We must inform you that payment is due by November 15th, or we may have to suspend your account. Now, this says, we look forward to your payment. Customer service, Verizon. Now, Verizon is a telecommunications company in the United States, by the way. So they, cell phones and telephones and cable and internet. It's a lot like Claro. So you have to respond to this because obviously you paid. Okay, you paid your bill. Now, if you don't respond, you're going to cut your service. They're going to suspend your service. So it requires action on your part. You must take action. You have to respond with an email. Okay? So for about 30 seconds, I'd like you to think, if you had to include 3 or 4 things in your email to our friends at Verizon. This is the email that you got from them. You paid. So what are 3 or 4 things you would include in an email to respond to them? Okay? Think about it for about 30 seconds and let me know what you think. What would you include in the email to our friends at Verizon? How would you start your email? What would be in your first line? What details would you put? What information? What action would you indicate? Well, I mean, what would you say? What would you tell these people? Okay, Aide and Aurora are writing right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, in an email, we may not necessarily have to put the date because the date is all automatically electronically marked. But yes, you want to let them know that you paid. Yeah, it's important that you tell them, hey, I paid. So you have to clarify that. Uh, Informal words. They don't have to be very formal, of course. There has to be some formality because you are addressing a company, and the company, if you notice here, the language is semi-formal. You want to send the voucher, but you also have to mention the voucher. Good, Gabriela. So you want to tell them that I am attaching the voucher here. Tell them that you already paid the bill. Uh, you might suggest, very good, Aurora. You might suggest that they double check their system. Yeah, make a suggestion. Yeah, good. Um, okay, and anything else? Okay, but that's in essence what we want to do. That's what we want to say. So we have to include that. We want to obviously include a greeting, an acknowledgement. You want to say, hey, listen. It seems that you have not received my payment. Uh, I am quite surprised by that. I did make a payment on a certain date, right? Here I am including or I am attaching the voucher or a screenshot of the voucher for the payment or of the receipt that was given to me at the bank. I would greatly appreciate that you get back to me as soon as possible. If you confirm receipt and that you update your system. And then the additional information might be like Aurora's suggestion, right? I would strongly suggest that you double check your system. And I will be awaiting a response from you as soon as possible. And so, sincerely or best regards, and then you close. So there is a structure, but there have to be elements. You must know what the elements are. So one of the important things for a writing task is that you know the structure, but you also have to know exactly what you need to say. And not only what you need to say, you need to know how to say it effectively. There must be no doubt on the reader's mind that you paid your bill. There must be no doubt on the reader's mind that the evidence of such a payment is already included step by step. Yeah, Tabitha. So everything is very sequential. You have to follow a certain logical sequence, and you have to make sure that the key elements of the information are there and that they have to be explained clearly. Okay, so that would be an example of something that we might want to include in the writing. Okay, an oral assessment. Now, the oral assessment, this is a simulation. And what we want you to do is we want you to respond to an oral task. Okay. Now we're going to be doing this with a certain frequency. We're gonna probably have one this month as well, and then probably going to pick up the pace in the coming months. We're going to probably have two maybe that will be assessed in relation to the kinds of tasks that you might see on an international examination. So, for example, we're going to start very simple. Yeah, we're going to give you the task. Again, like with the writing, we're going to give you the instructions. We'll give you a framework so that you can, and this goes back to Tabitha's suggestion, right? You have the step by step. So, what is the framework? So, how do you frame your ideas and how you're going to say things in response to the task? We'll give you a visual prompt. Now, the visual prompt is going to be essential, especially with computer-based international examinations. Computer-based international examinations, they usually work with a visual prompt. You have to work with a visual prompt to record your voice. The system records your voice. And so we're going to prepare you for that type of task. I'm going to prepare you with simulated dialogues as well. Okay? So this is something we want you to do. You can do it if you want. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. We can't make you do it. We can't make you do it. I like to use the word mandatory because if I don't use the word mandatory, then people don't take it seriously. So I would say it's mandatory in the sense that we will make it sound mandatory, that we're going to make it sound mandatory to you. That's very important. You must do it. You should do it. We strongly advise you to do it. In the end, you can do it. And if you do it, then obviously, it will help you. It will help you with your general speaking skills, and it will help you also for the international exams. We'll give you the task. We'll give you the instructions. We'll give you a framework so that you can kind of set up your response. How would you set up your response? You have to train your mind. This is training your mind. It's almost like when we read, right? We're reading and we're writing. It's also speaking. Whenever you have a certain type of situation, and until you build up a high level of confidence and fluency and proficiency in the language where you can just spontaneously respond and your mind doesn't have to think about it. We have to train our minds. So we train our minds to think a certain way until, it becomes very natural. We don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah. And so we'll give you the framework, the visual prompt. We'll give you some ideas on what you can say, some sample language, some recommendations in terms of timing. This is another thing that we're going to prepare you for. It's very important that when you are doing a test, an international test, that you also be prepared for uh, factors that are inherent to the test. Okay, so that means that, for example, you have to be familiar with the test questions. You have to be familiar with the types of language that you might be expected to produce. Remember that the test that you're going to take, the level that you're in, and the tests or the tests that you're going to take, they are aligned with the Common European Framework. You must believe in yourself. You have confidence. That's going to help you a great deal. And you have to practice a lot. Okay? You have to practice a lot. So, recommendations. There's going to be a deadline, just like with the writing. We give you a deadline. Um, if you submit it by the deadline, we give you feedback. We give you some ideas on how you did. We'll give you some tips on how you can improve. So, for example, those of you who work with me, you know that I give you feedback. I tell you, hey, listen, this is what you forgot. This is what, don't mix up these words. We're going to work on those words as well. That's coming up next. So, for example, let's look at this activity. You might get a visual prompt. Now, this looks a little like what you do sometimes in your video sessions. So, indirectly, what you do, the international test will give you pictures. And usually, an international test can tell you, hey, look at the pictures for 90 seconds or for a minute and a half. And be prepared to tell me or tell us what is happening. So, basically, right there, what you have to do is you have to tell a story. So, you have to very quickly look at each picture, look at the information that each picture can give you, and assemble a story in 90 seconds. Usually, these tests on computers, like the test that you're going to take, they give you some time to prepare your responses. Okay, so this is something that will also train your mind. Eventually, we want to get to a point where you can respond immediately, but you also want to take a little time to kind of assemble it. So you have to look at the pictures. You have to train your mind, first of all, to look at the pictures, put them in the right order, in the right sequence. In a story, how would you tell a story? What would be first? What would be next, etc. And then you tell your story with details. But what's going to make the difference between a good score and a bad score on the writing, on the speaking, also the writing, it's not just the organization. It's also, yes, David, it's the vocabulary, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. It's the vocabulary that you're going to use, and it's the detail, right? The detail. Now, nobody expects you to speak perfectly, okay? Because remember that, you know, um, we're looking at examinations that are aimed at different levels, right? So we're looking at, one level here, another level there, whatever it might be. We're not testing native speakers. This is not a job interview. So nobody expects perfect language. What we do expect is language that is comprehensible and language that provides enough detail to fulfill the task. In the end, that will determine whether you pass the test or not. And that also helps you with your general speaking skills because you don't want to, if somebody asks you a question or if you're in a situation, you have to be able to respond it quickly enough, right? So here, if we look at this picture, I'd like you to tell me, okay, so for example, right here, let's use the red marker. Let's use the red marker here. So what do we have here? What's going on here? So you immediately look at this picture and you have to look at it. So what's going on in that picture? Okay, she's moving away. She might be. She's packing her clothes. Okay. She's going to travel. Okay. All right. All of these things are, but okay. So she's going to travel. She's packing her clothes. Uh, She might be moving too. Sometimes people move. They put their their clothes in a suitcase and then they just run off like we see in the movies sometimes. Yeah, or maybe she's going on vacation. Okay, so what do we see here? Okay, Roxana's getting very creative. Maybe she's getting a job far away. Okay, now see, that's the thing. We want to be creative too. When these tests are these tests, they reward creativity, especially if you give enough detail to the creative ideas. Elmer, good. So she's going to travel for a few days, maybe. Mother's Day. You see, we're getting some nice ideas. Okay, these ideas feed into the narrative. Uh, okay, Amparo says they might be saying goodbye, or they look kind of happy though. Maybe they might be saying hello. They might be saying hello. It depends on the story that you're telling. But yeah, yeah, Nelly. So yeah, so this is a daughter and a mother who are embracing each other. Uh, Maybe the grandma. Well, yeah, that's okay. That would work too. Nobody's gonna. I mean, no test evaluator is gonna tell you. Well, that's not the grandmother. That's the mother. Okay, she's saying goodbye. Over here. Okay, so four people are typing right now. Very good. Traveling abroad, she must fly. Now, Aurora added the word must. I like that idea for a second. Amparo, she's traveling to another country. The plane is leaving on time. Now, you see, you guys are giving me very specific details. The plane is boarding. She's going for work. Okay, all right. So it's not enough. Okay, good, Tabitha. So on business, it's not enough to say, well, she took a plane to see her mother. Because remember that each picture is a part of the story. So, for example, if you're saying here, she had to buy some tickets to travel abroad. She needed to see her mother for a few days. She bought tickets on an airline. They were very expensive, and so remember, you want to give as much information as possible. So she bought the tickets online. She needed to travel for 7 days. Uh, the plane was almost full, but she was able to get a ticket. Um, she needed to uh, be there for not only for to see her mother, but also for business. She needed to go to Europe. Maybe Europe. This is Adang's idea. She's traveling to Europe. So the more details that you give, remember, you don't want to give too many details because you only have a certain amount of time. But you want to give as much detail to each picture, and each detail has to be communicated efficiently and concisely. Because on a test, but in real life too, right? I mean, in real life, we want to get to the point. We don't like it when people start, rambling and going on and on and on, and they don't tell you what the main idea is. So if you want to look at this picture, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, she got on the plane and it flew off." No, I mean, she needed to buy a ticket to Europe. The tickets were very hard to find. She got one that was very expensive. It cost her a lot of money, but she didn't care because she wanted to go and see her mother. The plane was almost full. There were a lot of security issues. You see? Now we have four details right there. Yeah, we have four details. Here, Glenda is talking about the letter. She wrote a letter and left it on the table before leaving her trip. That's the kind of creativity that you want to use to enrich. The word is enrich your story. So the word is enrich. We want to enrich the quality of the story with details. But if you're not careful, so in general, if we're having a conversation, that's fine. Yeah, because we have all the time in the world in the conversation. Nobody says, "Hey, you have 30 seconds to tell me what you want to tell me." Nobody's going to tell you that, right? But on a test, you have to train your mind to look at the pictures, process the information, create a story, and tell it quickly and concisely with enough detail to make it rich, right? To convince the person that you told a substantial story that's not too vague. It's actually a story. It's exactly a story that tells a story. So I got a lot of good ideas from you guys. That's the idea. That's what we want to do. We need to train ourselves though. Okay, so just like when you work, when you go to your talking sessions, when your VED, your virtual educator, Miss Chris or Maylene or Romina, etc. If they're talking to you, think about that. Immediately process the information, especially since we send you the preparation material. That's something that I want. That's something I want you to leave with today as a tip. Whenever you prepare to speak, when you are in advance preparing for your speaking tasks, try to think about how you're going to give rich responses. Okay, you want to give rich responses, responses that provide detail, reflect creativity, right? They give information that is interesting. Yeah. So some of you guys gave some really interesting information. I love the way Glenda said she wrote a letter for her mother and left it on the table before leaving for her country. I like that. That's nice. That's a story. That's an element that you would hear in a story. Yeah. Uh, um, Before it was okay. She was traveling abroad. Yeah, she was traveling abroad. She's traveling to another country for the first time, so she was very nervous and didn't know what to take. And so you see how you have to kind of create a story that's has detail, but it's also interesting. And the interesting part comes from creativity. Yeah, there you go, Glenda. There she goes again. Now she's giving me an interesting additional idea. In the letter, she tells her mom to please not forget to feed the dog or her pet or whatever the animal is. So those are the elements that enrich your story. And this is what we want you to do. We want you to practice that. So apart from your platform that you're working on, that you practice with Lucy, and you see the models, and then you practice with your V educators, we want to now start helping you focus on the kinds of tests to train your mind to practice. And we're going to give you recommendations and everything. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, what do you include in the response? The general idea. This is a story. A story about somebody who had to leave. I'm going to tell you a story about somebody, a woman who had to go see her mother, but it was under very difficult circumstances. So first she had to buy a ticket. It was very hard and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So you see, and then all of those ideas that you guys mentioned are there. And so you have your general summary at the beginning, the details for each picture, and then obviously the closing. In the end, she met her mother in Amsterdam, and they gave each other a strong embrace after not seeing each other for several years, and was so happy. The whole family got together, and they had a nice celebration. So you have a beginning that kind of summarizes the general idea. I'm going to tell you a story about a mother or this is a story about a daughter who went to see her mother after many years. So first she had to buy a ticket, and see, now you start telling your story. And then at the end of the story, you want to give a happy ending. Okay, so this is how and we're going to put this in the information, the instructions. We're going to put this in the instructions to help you structure your ideas, your ability to tell stories, or whatever the task is. Whatever the task is, the same thing will apply to the writing as well. Okay, so those are two new things that start this month. PLC start this month. PLCs. This is something that we created to help you with aspects of language, aspects of teaching, But now we're gonna pay more attention. We're gonna focus more on. So we're gonna give you the website, and on the website, it's in the Edmodo website. We're gonna give you the tools and resources. Now the tools and resources are going to expand, and we're gonna give you deadlines, because if you don't have deadlines, you don't make the progress that you're supposed to do. Now, some of them you don't need hit deadlines for, because some of them are resources that are openly available that you can take advantage of in your free time, based on your needs. They are there. For example, there will be videos on how to write from the sentence level to the paragraph level to the essay level. So these are videos that you can watch that will help you with your writing. Okay, and there are also videos that will help you with your reading. Now, speaking. A lot of them we've already sent to you. These are all going to be in the same place, and they're going to be organized according to topics. So, for example, For this week, I think we sent you a video on how to talk about, what was it? It was a video that we sent you, and it was telling. Oh my goodness! It was well, whatever it is. If you're talking about how to tell a story, so you'll find a video, and it's going to tell you how do you tell a story in English. What kind of language you use. And so, the video, you get some good ideas. You know, there'll be some grammar, how to work with grammar to kind of fine tune. Now, one of you said grammar before, right? You need grammar to communicate ideas. Well, we're going to start throwing in some grammar videos. We're going to be throwing in some other videos that will help you with the writing when you're speaking. Okay, hello, Eliana. Okay, so writing and speaking. So we want you to take advantage of these things. Specifically, for example, there is one that I think is mandatory that you need to do because I know how to make it mandatory also. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work with word cards. You might be wondering what are word cards. Now, some of you might be familiar with word cards. Word cards are shown by research they've been found by research people like Dr. Paul Nation from the University of Wellington in New Zealand. He's a famous researcher, and he's a world-renowned figure. And word cards are a very effective way to learn new words very quickly if you apply the technique correctly. You can learn new words, new phrases very quickly in a short period of time. Now, we're not going to ask you to learn 2,000 words in a week, but we are going to ask you to start trying to learn 50 words a week. Now, you might be saying, well, 50 words, that's a lot of words. Okay, two things here. I have to explain two things. Number one, there are people who use word cards to learn new vocabulary, and when they master the technique, when they have a good understanding of how the technique works, these people can learn 150 to 200 words in an hour, in 1 hour. So word cards, we're going to start asking to learn 50 words a week. So it's really not that much of a big deal. In fact, in some cases when, yeah, wow, it's true. You got to learn the technique though. And it's not really in an hour. Yeah, this is a research. It can help you learn up to. Now, some people don't, where they won't learn 150 words in an hour. You have to be really motivated. And you have to really understand how to work with these things. But some people are really super duper motivated, and they can learn very quickly, very fast. And other people, they take a little longer. Most people, on average, they can learn. In fact, they can learn 50 words in an afternoon, because the way you're supposed to work in the traditional teaching way, when we used to have classrooms, when we worked in classrooms, this was before the pandemic. What we did was we had our word cards. Let me get a piece of paper here. And so we had 50 word cards in a stack. We use index cards. This is not an index card. This is a piece of printing paper. But an index card, we would have 50 index cards, and on the front you would write, for your students, you would write the word in English, and on the back you write the definition. Okay? So that's the definition. And the definition, when you're a lower level student, the definition is in the L1. It's in the mother tongue. It's in, for example, Spanish speakers, it would be in Spanish. So the front word in the front, on the front, it's the word in English. And on the back, you have the definition in Spanish. You go higher levels, and obviously you don't use the Spanish anymore. You start using definitions in English. The thing is that you have let's say a stack of 50 cards, and you look at the card, look at the back, next card, and you start putting it on the stack. And then you start trying to remember. You look at the cards again, and you say, okay, house. Okay, if you're a lower level student, casa. Okay, yeah, I got it right. So you put it in another stack. So the ones that you get right, you put in a different stack. The ones that you finally get to learn, you put in the stack until you learn all the words. So that's receptive vocabulary. And obviously, our idea is to help you convert that into productive vocabulary. So I'm gonna tell you two things very quickly. Number one, in order to improve your proficiency in the language, everything you're doing right now is great. So you're working with a platform. The good thing about the platform, it gives you massive amounts of input in the language, massive amounts. That's good. That's the advantage of virtual over face to face. The advantage of virtual, of working with a platform over working in a traditional classroom, is that you as a student, if you do it right, if you dedicate the time that you need, if you are motivated, then you are exposed to massive amounts of input in the second language, in English. And that, if you work with it, if you process it, you understand it, you appreciate it, you enjoy it, you work with it, your mind assimilates it and it sends it into your interlanguage. That's number one. Number two, the thing with the word cards is that you set your targets and then you are exposed to the words over and over and over again. You know that in order to really learn new words, the research says that you need multiple exposures. The younger you are, if you're a child, you can acquire language very quickly. You can acquire language maybe in 2 or 3 exposures, according to some studies. But an average is maybe 5 exposures, and the kids already acquired the language. I mean, it's already here. They don't need to think about it. The older you get, you need to be exposed more. You're looking at an average of about 10 to 15 exposures if you are. If you're looking at receptive vocabulary, receptive vocabulary means you look at a word and you know what it means. You're not in the position to use it necessarily. So you look at research, you say investigación, you know it's investigación in your mind, you know what that is. So your mind automatically associates research with academic investigation, but you can't use the word yet, right? So I would say, Katya, can you use a word? Give me a sentence with a research. And Katya knows what research is, but she can't use it. So it's receptive vocabulary, but it's not productive vocabulary. In our case, what we're going to try to do with you is we're going to try to build up your receptive vocabulary, and then we're going to try to convert it into productive vocabulary. The way to do that is there are 2 ways. Number one, you follow the word card technique. You build up your receptive vocabulary. You work with that in the vocabulary log, okay, which means it's going to require a lot of work. Whether you want to learn these words or not, you want to convert receptive vocabulary. If you want to learn a lot of receptive vocabulary, the word cards are sufficient. But if you want to convert your receptive vocabulary into productive vocabulary, then you have to take 2 other steps, which we're going to explain to you, okay? Starting this month. We're going to indicate to you the instructions, the procedure, the targets. I'm letting you know right now, the ideal target for you guys is 50 words a week. I'll give you one other piece of information. There's something called, let me write it here. There was something originally called the General Service List. This was something called the General Service List. They did a study back in 1953, and this was done by Michael West. Okay, so Dr. Michael West, he did a study. He had his team. They identified the most frequent words in the English language, and they determined that if people learned the 2,000 most frequent words in the English language, if they truly learned the words, they could understand up to 85% of all writing texts. So articles, back then letters, books, that kind of thing. Yeah, even academic articles. So 85% of most of the writing out there. Okay? If they learned the 2,000 words. Now that was 1953. Now today, in the year 2013, they came up with a new General Service List. So I'm going to give you a link to this, okay? They came up with a new general service list. The new general service list is no longer 2,000 words. It's 2,818 words. These are the 2,818 most frequent words in the English language. Okay? These are the most frequent words in the English language. The research is the same, but it's a little better now. If you learn 2,800 to 2,818 most frequent words in the English language, then you are now in a position, you will be in a position to understand 90%, 90 to 95% of texts written in English, and you will be able to participate if you can convert the words to productive vocabulary. You will be able to participate successfully in 95% of general conversational situations. So your speaking will improve as well. So it's also your reading comprehension, your writing, and your speaking will all improve if you learn these words. Now you might be wondering, where am I going to learn these words? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to share the screen right now, and we're going to go to the site. Okay, so there we go. This is actually, let me try it. Let me try it another way. Let me use the app. Okay, so we want to open this, and we're going to go to application, Google Chrome. We're going to go to new general service list. There we go. We're going to go right here. You go to new general service list, and what you will see is right around here below the graphic, you will see a link to Quizlet. And here you have all of the words in word card form, all 2,818 words in word card form. Yeah? So let's go over here. So new general service list, shift, to move or to cause a different place, position. Okay? And it's in Spanish here. Okay, so you wanna switch it again, shift. So what we used to do with the physical cards, now we can do it electronically. Yeah? Okay. Contribution. What is a contribution? Something that you do or give to help produce or develop something, or to help something be successful, or help something make something be successful. Yeah? And so there are a number of things that you can do. Weapon, something such as a gun, knife, club, or bomb that is used for fighting or attacking someone, or for defending yourself when someone is attacking you. Yeah? Let me see what this does. Let's see, this wasn't here before. Okay. Okay. So here, for example, complete or full with no part left out, whole. Now this is based on the word cards. So if you want to, if you want, you write the word, right? Complete or full with no part left out, whole. That's a good question. I didn't study the word cards. There could be a lot of words here. But anyway, this is just to show you. If you want to listen to the word that you hear, a woman who behaves in a polite way, that would be a lady. Okay, so you listen. These are all words from the word cards. So you can do a lot of things here. You can have the writing. You can have the, let's see what this does. Okay, so we have an activity that you do in order to learn something. So what is that? Is that left, lesson, refuse, or crisis? Which one do you think it is? An activity that you do in order to learn something. Let's see what everybody's saying. Let me see. What do you think it is? Okay, good. I can see that there. All right, great. So lesson, let's see where we at. Correct. Okay. And so you can do a lot of things here with the words. And so right now, our first step is to make sure that, and it gives you words in groups of 50, right? So a ball, you know what a ball is. a usually round object that is used in a game or sport. So this is just to give you a very quick look at what we're talking about. I want you, because this is my program, I want you to learn these 50 words a week. Okay, it's going to help you. It's going to help you. As you can see there, um, you can type it. You can learn how to write the words. You can learn how to identify the words. You can learn how to listen for the words. You can learn the meaning of the words, and then so that's the first step. Okay, so Aurora, we're going to send that to you this week, Aurora. This week, this coming week, we're going to send everything to you. So we're going to send you some instructions. Okay, and we're also going to send you the access to Good Roxana, and we're going to send you some instructions on how to take advantage of this. And it's up to you. I mean, I think it's a very powerful resource for you to be able to learn words. You want to learn 50. The target is 50 a week. You want to learn 100 words a week, 150 words a week, it's up to you. Remember what I told you. With the more traditional word cards, the physical word cards on index cards, people can learn as many as 150 to 200 words an hour. Okay, so this is up to you if you want to take advantage of it. I want you to learn as many words as you want, because a lot of these words are going to be on your tests. And so on any test, not just the test that you're going to take, any test, and they're going to be in any situation. And if you can learn these words, remember, you'll be able to, our job is to help you not only learn the words, but to convert the words into uh, um, active or productive vocabulary, right? Not just receptive or passive vocabulary. We want you to convert that into active or productive vocabulary. Okay, so you can use it when you talk. Yeah, how do you do that? So that's the job we have now. So you finished your first half. You got a rhythm. You got a rhythm. You're comfortable. So now we're going to step up the pace. We're going to increase a little pressure, so that you can, it's going to be like, when you go to, how many of you go to the gym? You guys go to the gym? Anybody go to the gym? Anybody work out at the gym, at the local gym? Anybody? Well, excuse me. How many of you worked? Let's use the past tense. Pre-pandemic, you used to work out at the gym before the pandemic, and maybe you're working out at home. Good, good. Aurora and Roxana, good. You guys are working out at home, online gym. All right, good. I did. So you gotta keep active. Okay, this is like going to the gym, right? So now you did the light stuff, you did the lighter stuff. Now you gotta do into the heavy stuff. It's gonna hurt you a little bit. It's gonna hurt the muscles, And if it doesn't hurt, then you didn't do the right workout. You got to do a workout. It's got to hurt. When you get out of that gym, you gotta say, "Oh, that hurts," but that's good. It's the nice kind of pain. It's the kind of pain that gets you in good shape, right? So now we're gonna give you a little more weight. Now we're gonna diversify the exercises. We're gonna put some more weight on there. It's not gonna be 20 kilos anymore. It's gonna be 40 kilos now, all right? And so now you're gonna start feeling the stuff, but it's gonna help you. It's gonna help you. You're gonna feel good. Yeah. So that's the work cards. And then what we got is the test prep, the strategies. We're going to start introducing strategies. Now we're going to introduce. Oh, by the way, with the word cards, in case you don't do the word cards are going to be integrated with your speaking sessions. Maybe the third one this month. Not you had your first one this week, but the third one we're going to start sticking in some of the words, because on Monday or Tuesday we're going to send you out the instructions for the word cards and your targets. And some of those words are going to maybe be in one of the speaking tasks. You better be ready, okay? Because we're going to give you tips on how to convert it into active vocabulary or productive vocabulary, and then it might be in your speaking test. The test preparation strategies too. We're gonna start having talks like this. We're going to send out material, recordings, make recordings available. We're going to start addressing different issues about tests, how to confront your international test more successfully. Be careful with the timing, what kinds of questions, the different skills, and some of the general reading strategies or listening strategies that apply to any test. And of course, it will help you with the test that you have right now. So all of this stuff we're going to start addressing the second half of the program. We're going to look at test preparation strategies. And we're going to look at, so again, webinars. And this is what we promised. We were going to promise academic teacher training webinars starting this second half. So uh, today, excuse me, this, I think it's this week, this coming week, or the following week. Let me check. I can't remember the schedule. We're going to offer our first academic webinar. I think this month it's using music to motivate tweens and teens. I think we're going to use that one to give you a certificate. And there are a bunch of other talks that we're going to be scheduling for you. And if you can't make it to the live session, we'll schedule a recorded session. It's the same because I'm going to be around. Usually, what I do is I play the recorded session, and then what I try to do is I try to be around at the end in case people have questions. Okay, so if you're not able to make it to the live session, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to schedule 2 or 3 recorded sessions so that you can watch the session at that particular time, and you'll get a certificate for your participation as well from NYC. Yeah. Okay, so these are the general updates. I will send the access codes to the PLCs. Let me share that with you very quickly. The PLC. So okay, so I'm sharing my screen again. So let me go to the PLC. Remember, these are the folders. You have a grammar workshop, writing lab, the grammar workshop. We're going to start adding. Basically, the good thing about grammar, regardless of the test that you're taking, is that essentially you have to basically be really familiar with about. If you really want to know all the levels, it depends on the level that you're studying, of course. The lower the level, you don't need to know as many grammatical structures. But in essence, you're looking at about 30 grammatical structures or 33 grammatical structures that cover basically most of what you're going to say or write or read in general. So what you see this folder here, it says grammar workshop, and then you have writing lab, and then teacher training videos, international speakers and conferences, course materials, research guides and policies. So all of that's going to be made available to you, and you will be expected to participate. Oh, I see. That's why you weren't able to see it. So let me try this again. Hold on a second. Let me open it up in the browser. Let me open it up. That's why you weren't able to see it. So let me show you what I was talking about. So here you see the grammar workshop. You'll see videos on grammar structures and how, explanations and everything here. The writing lab, so how to write sentences and phrases and colloquial expressions and how to use discourse markers, how to use how to organize essays. Anything that has to do with writing will be put here. You'll have teacher training videos. You'll have international speakers and conferences with talks, course materials, documents, tools, and videos, research articles that you may find very interesting, a lot of interesting stuff, and then some general guides and policy stuff that we might have sent to you before in terms of the program that you've seen so far. Okay, so are there any questions? Any questions that anybody might have? Is everything pretty much clear? We're going to be sending you the information starting this coming week, Monday or Tuesday. And if there are no questions, I'd like to strongly encourage you to join our teachers community Facebook community. So this is New York City Learning Solutions. You go to New York City Learning Solutions on Facebook, and then you see this right here. This is visit group. Okay, you click on visit group, and it's going to ask you if you want to join. And the idea is that you join this group right here, New York City Teachers Community. So we're going to have some stuff. So there are always invitations that we have, some interesting. We had one yesterday, one in the U.S. on how to work with young kids. Somebody who's a member of the community from New York, she posted a webinar for those of you who work with the young learners and how to work with stories. So this is there's some interesting stuff, and I post stuff there all the time because I do webinars for different publishers, and my agreements are starting to come out better in general. So I'm having some new agreements with new organizations, and so we're going to be offering some new talks, and they're all free. If you're part of the community, you'll see the link. You can register, Equals talks and some, we're a member of Equals. I work closely with Equals in Europe, and they always have these webinars. There's a lot of stuff there, resources and a lot of general things that you might find interesting. Okay, so if there are no, oh, and I strongly encourage you to register for our website. In general, so you can receive information about the any new developments that we might have, news and that kind of thing from NYC. I mean, you guys are already working with us, so if there are no questions, any questions? I usually count to 10 to see if there are any questions. And if there are no questions, okay, there are 2 questions right now. Okay, good. They say that if nobody asks a question, then it's one of 2 things. Either they love the presentation and everybody is speechless, or good. Yeah, Heide, good question. We will be sending that out on Monday. How to join the PLC, the instructions on how to become a member of the PLC. Okay, so please be attentive. We're going to send out the email. Okay, the exam will be. We will schedule the exam. It's going to be somewhere around May or June because you finish at the end of April, and so as soon as you finish, we're going to schedule your exam. And so it should be. It depends on when you want to take it. You want to take it in May or June? It could be as soon as May. It could be June. It's up to you. Some people prefer a month to prepare and then do the final preparation, or you can do it right away. You can do it in May. So we're looking at the exam more or less around May or June. Dateline for the platform, yeah. For the I think you're referring to the deadline for the work that we want you to do. There's going to be deadlines. We're going to post the deadlines. We want you to do the work. We want you to learn your words. There will be an invitation for Edmodo. The exam is online. Okay. If there is still a pandemic in May, you will have the option of taking it at home, at your house. Okay, you may not have to go anywhere in particular. If the state of emergency is lifted, then what will happen is we will schedule a place for you to take it. Very likely a lab, a computer lab that we will be able to establish on certain dates. But if that is not the case, then what we'll probably do, if we still have the pandemic, we'll probably have you take it from home. Hopefully, we don't have the pandemic, but we have to be ready for anything. Okay. Okay, great. So, okay, I'll take one more question from Aurora, and then we'll call it a night. And then, I'll send you the information starting next week. Well, we'll send you. I'll have my guys in customer outreach. Yes, sure, it could be. It could be as soon as you finish. As soon as you finish the course, you can take the exam. Okay, so as soon as you finish at the end of the program, you can schedule your test right away. All right. Now we'll see if it's online. Excuse me. We'll see if it's from your house or if it's at a centralized place. Okay. We're probably going to have it on. We might want to do it from your house. It might be more convenient. You'll have to follow certain protocols, right? You'll have to be able to follow certain protocols. Yeah, you're supposed to be ready. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do everything we can. But thank you for reminding me. But listen, guys, this was said at the very beginning. In order to be able to maximize your ability to pass the test, and of course, obviously, the main purpose is to take advantage of the program as much as possible. You must attend all the sessions and you must do the work online. Now, I'd say this coming week, we're also going to send an updated progress report to each one of you as to where you are on the platform. The last time we did this was about 2 months ago, and a lot of people were behind. So in order for you to be at a maximum state of preparation, you have to do everything I just told you we're going to do, and you also have to do your work online. Okay? So, for example, some of the people who have dropped out, they dropped out because they weren't, a couple of people, they almost didn't do anything. And obviously those people aren't with us anymore. You guys are making your work, you're doing your progress, you're moving forward. But if you want to maximize your chances of passing the test, number one, You have to do your work online. You got to do your work. Remember that, I mean, you guys are teachers. You know this. You know this. Half of the responsibility for the learning process is up to the teacher or up to the program. So that's us, right? The other half is up to the student. So whether it be English or whatever it is, but in English in particular, because languages are not an easy thing to learn. So we know that in order for somebody to take advantage of a learning process, you must study, you must prepare, you must set aside a certain amount of time per week to do your work on the platform, and you should go to your video conference sessions. Some people have not been going to the video conference sessions. If you don't go to the video conference sessions, you're not practicing. If you don't do the platform, you're not practicing. You're not learning and you're not practicing. Remember what I said about the platform. The platform provides you with massive amounts of input. But if you only spend half an hour a week on a platform when you should be spending 5 or 6 or 7 hours, then you're not getting the massive input that you need. So it's a very good question. Although this question is very good. Are we going to be prepared? Yeah, you're going to be prepared if you did the work. You need to do the work online. You need to go to the video sessions, and you need to do what I just talked about today. All of that. Remember, this is a process. We want you to get ready. We want you to practice. We want you to take advantage of it. You're going to be exposed to a lot of language if you use it. And then you should be in good shape. I want you to be there. I want you to be in good shape. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel confident. So we're going to look at test taking strategies. We're going to evaluate your orals as if you were on a test. So apart from your practices with your video conference, with your V-educators, we're also going to do these oral tasks, okay? These oral tasks, and we're going to check, and you're going to get feedback, okay? How to improve. We're going to give you tips. How can you improve? How can you sound more fluent? And remember that on tests, and I'm a guy who did all the tests. I administered the tests. I was supervisor for tests. I'm an oral examiner. I did Cambridge. I did Michigan. I was a Cambridge examiner, a Michigan examiner, TOEIC, TOEFL, ACTFL, US Peace Corps. I've done all of them. I've been in charge of all these exams. And one of the things I can tell you is, if you want to pass the speaking tests, apart from all the other things that you need to pass, if you want to pass the speaking tests, you have to be able to communicate fluently, confidently, concisely in response to what they're telling you. Now, to finish, let me give you an idea. Let me show you an example, okay, from a Cambridge test. Now, this Cambridge test is an FCE, so this is more or less, some of you are going to be taking the B2 level test. So let me show you, okay? Let me show you what that would be like. Okay, so here, what they usually do, and I've done this before. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we're going to watch 2 minutes. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep you here too long. I know I've already taken a lot of your time. So let me just take 2 minutes here. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, so we're going to watch very, very briefly. We're going to watch a task. Okay, and so the task is from a Cambridge FCE examination. Okay, and so I want you to listen to the task. Let me see where we are. Let me see if it's here. It's around minute 2. No, it's a little too much. Okay, a little further back. Okay, so we're going to watch here. I want you to listen to what the instructor will tell you, or excuse me, will tell them. Now, they have to work together. Your test is going to be a little different because your test is going to be one-to-one individual. Here, they have to work together. But I want you to listen to the kind of language they have to produce, okay? Because they're going to work with pictures. You're going to work with pictures too, okay? So I want you to listen very quickly. We'll listen to this for 2 minutes because usually the tasks are 2 or 3 minutes, depending on the...
Because there is quite expensive cars, the things I like.
Okay, here come the instructions for the next part.
In this part of the test, I'm going to give each of you 2 photographs. I'd like you to talk about your photographs on your own for about a minute, and also to answer a short question about your partner's photographs.
Okay, so if you listen to her, she says, I want you to look at your picture, and I want you to tell me about your picture in about a minute. Okay? So this is what we're going to be practicing. This is what the tasks are for. The oral tasks that we're going to be sending you is to prepare you for this kind of thing. So here it's person to person. On a computer, the computer talks to you and the computer tells you, look at the pictures. Tell me about the pictures. So this is what we saw before. Yeah. So it's going to be very similar, but you're going to be talking to a computer. The computer will record your voice and your speaking will be graded in either London or in New York, and they're both, they got speaking evaluators in both places. So listen to what they say, and this gives you an idea of more or less what kind of language they might expect. Okay.
Victoria, it's your turn first.
Okay.
Here are your photographs. They show people who are helping other people in different situations. I'd like you to compare the photographs and say how important it is to help people in these situations.
Okay.
Okay, so there they have to look at each picture. She says compare the photographs and then tell me in general how important it is for people to help others. So here you have to say here who is helping. This woman is helping this athlete. He's a soccer player. And here this woman is asking a police officer for directions. So you have to be able to identify what is in each picture. Remember what I talked about before, the creativity, the details. That will help you with this, okay? Remember, this is an FCE test. This is a B2 level test. And so what I mentioned before and what we're going to be working on this second half over the course of the next few months is to help you prepare for this kind of question, okay? So let's listen to see what they say about the pictures.
All right?
Yeah. In the first picture, I see a sportsman, a footballer, and somebody, I think he has a cramp or something like this, and somebody helps him. In the second picture, there's a policeman. The lady, I think she asks for the direction because she's confusing in the city. He's new or a tourist. I think both are very important persons because one has in the first picture he has pain, and the second picture she needs help as well. So I think that are both very important persons for the people in each situation. I think I would prefer to help people who make some sports because I like sports. And it's really interesting to see other people, and
Thank you.
Okay, you see how she cut him off? She cut her off because she has a certain amount of time. That's it. So this is what we need to understand. If you look at how she talked about each picture, she said, in the first picture there's a person, a sportsman. She said a sportsman, which is not exactly the right word. Then she makes it more specific. She says a footballer. He looks like he's in pain, so she's describing what's happening, and so he needs help, she says. And then she goes to the next picture. She says there's a lady, and the lady, she looks like a tourist, and she's asking the police officer for directions. Okay, so look at that. Look at those two things there. So what you're supposed to be able to do is to say, describe the picture, but you want to give a little more detail, okay, in both cases. And then she says, which one would she rather do, right? So you go back and you have to listen to what the person was asking for. Okay, so here we go. Hold on a second. Okay, let's go here. Let's listen to the instructions again.
2 photographs. I'd like you to talk about your photographs on your own for about a minute, and also to answer a short question about your partner's photographs. Victoria, it's your turn first.
Okay.
Here are your photographs. They show people who are helping other people in different situations. I'd like you to compare the photographs and say how important it is to help people in these situations.
Okay.
So my question to you, if you remember what the girl said, she said, how important, now remember the main question here is how important is it to help people in these situations? Did she answer the question? Gabriela says no. Aurora says no. No. Good. Good, 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 good. Amparo says no. Yeah. So I think we all agree she didn't answer the question. Now, why is it important to help the footballer? Or in American English, it would be the soccer player. Why is it important to help? She described the pictures, which is okay, but she didn't answer the question, which is the main part of the task. So if you want to pass these tests, you must make sure. So here's your first test taking strategy. You must be sure that you identify the purpose of the task. In other words, what does the test want you to do? Good, Erika. She didn't really compare them. Okay? She described them, but she didn't compare them. And she didn't answer the main question, right? The main question is, why is it important to help these people in these situations? And so what we're going to be doing over this second half of the program is to provide you, as I mentioned before, test-taking strategies and how to respond correctly to these kinds of questions. Now, this is an FCE test. This is a B2 level exam, high intermediate or upper intermediate, okay? What she needed to say was also, apart from Erika, like Erika said, she had to compare them, right? Which situation is more difficult? Which situation is more complex? Which situation is more common? Whatever the comparison is. But the main question was how important it is to help these people. If the footballer is not helped, what happens? Give me two consequences for that. Give me two consequences. If they can't help that footballer, what happens? What are two consequences if he doesn't get helped? Yeah. Okay, let's see what everybody else is writing. Let's see. Yeah, he might not be able to play. All right, he can't continue. Now, what is the second consequence? If he can't play and he's an important player, he can't get back to the game. Good, Aurora. He can't get back to the game and he's an important player. What happens? What's the second consequence? Good. There you go. Aurora got it. All right, she has it right there. Okay, that's the idea. So you see that? You have to project immediately. You have to think very quickly, and you have to make sure that you answer these questions fully, because you might give an answer, but it doesn't address, it doesn't fulfill the task. It doesn't fulfill the task. It doesn't fulfill the task, then you're not going to get the optimal grade. Okay, so this is something. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he can go to the hospital and everything. Now, that's him. So those are all about him. But remember, the other consequence is the team. If he's an important player, the team might lose. This is Aurora's point. Okay, so that's why it's important to help these people in these situations. If the player is not helped, then he might not be able to continue. He may not continue in the game. And if he's an important player, the team might lose. And you have to do the same thing with the lady. In the second picture, if she doesn't get the right directions, what happens? Oh, there you go. Gabriela's now projecting. She's projecting. Look, she's joining the two situations. Very nice. Yeah, she can get lost. She can get lost. She can't find the place that she's looking for. Right? If she can't find a place, she might lose a whole day of her tourist trip. You see how we have to train our minds to think. So this is what we're going to try to help you. We're going to try to help you train your mind. How do I respond to these questions? Quickly, concisely. Remember, she only had a minute, so she had to answer in 60 seconds. Okay? Now, the good thing is that in other cases, you will get some preparation time, especially when it's computer-based. When it's live, sometimes you get some preparation time, sometimes you don't. Cambridge, sometimes you get some, depending on the stage of the speaking test. But on computer-based tests, you usually gets a little time, sometimes 60 seconds to 90 seconds to prepare for your response. So but you still have to immediately look at the information and process the information. So this is something we have to train you to do. This is what comes in the second half. So this is the test, the training that you're going to get in test preparation strategies as well. Okay, now this is FCE, guys. If you, some of you are in English for Success, NYC English for Success, English for ELT Success, A or B, you're not taking a test like this. Your test has different types of tasks. It's not as demanding. It's still a demanding test, but it's not as demanding. Remember, this is a B2, the other one's a B1. Okay, so the different levels. We're going to prepare each group for its respective levels. Okay. Okay, great questions. All right, guys. So be on the lookout. Keep your eyes open for the material that we're going to be sending you out. We're going to send you instructions. We're going to send you recommendations. We're going to send you models. We're going to send you deadlines. Please do the work in the deadlines. Get back to us as quickly as you can, and I look forward to seeing you continue to move on that spectrum towards the ultimate goal. Thank you for being with us today. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Okay, some of you still have sessions tomorrow, so enjoy your sessions tomorrow as well. Okay? All right, bye-bye, guys. See you. See you soon. Okay, Aurora, Aide, Glenda, Gabriela. See you guys. Tabitha. All right, everybody. Bye, Erika.